Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews from a regular dude, where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels, occasionally I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews from a regular dude in my car. I'm parked a little different today so that I don't have lights behind me, so hopefully this works out a little bit better. But we're going to check out one today from a channel called Unpopular Notes, and this is terrifying things caught in elevators. My sister can't get in an elevator. She has to take the stairs. That, I don't know, it's like a claustrophobic type thing. She starts to freak out. I have no problem with it. But let's check this out.
Sometimes enclosed spaces scare people for no reason. Some deep-rooted fear settles deep into their chest and they can't get over it. Sometimes that fear comes from nowhere, and sometimes it's entirely understandable. Elevators trigger a fight or flight in many, and today's clips capture some terrifying, disturbing, and downright uncomfortable situations caught on camera within the confines of a small 5x5 space. When you're trapped in such a small area, it's hard to imagine what you'd do. Make sure you watch to the end to see how these fared. Hospital elevator fails. One of the worst things that can happen on an elevator is a failure of some kind, and this person learned what that might look like firsthand. In the noisy elevator, YouTuber Cheesy notices as the sounds rattle around them, clanging terrifyingly around the stalled elevator.
Okay, that would freak me out a little bit.
It continues to get louder as it clearly breaks down, but as the user says, it was right at the end of a night shift. Can you imagine working overnight only to feel like it all might come quite literally crashing down around you? For this horrifying,
you start to think, are the cables snapping? Am I falling? What's going on? Yeah, that would be scary. That's the only thing that would scare me about being trapped in the elevator, is if it were to fall. As far as being stuck in there, I know someone's probably going to find me eventually.
Ordeal, perceived or real, to suddenly be your reality at the end of a probably very long shift. The lack of maintenance is the scary part here. Oh, shit! This user got off easy, but hopefully they got a tech out there before things came to a screeching halt.
Need to disable it somehow, so that no one else can use it.
Boy holds elevator and nearly causes free fall. It's best not to mess with an elevator. These highly tuned machines are not meant to be messed with. When trying to hold the door open, this kid stuck his umbrella through the doors, attempting to hold it. However, this wasn't enough to trigger the sensor as it shuts around the umbrella. The boy gets stuck as the elevator does sense something is wrong. It's terrifying to imagine how close he may have come to an all-out freefall. Still, fortunately, the boy was saved by the quick actions of the residents and the maintenance crew. Maybe he'll learn his lesson, or maybe they just won't let him ride the elevator alone anymore. Karen vlogs elevator.
I've done it with my hand numerous times.
Karens are a nightmare on a good day, even worse when you're in an enclosed space. Karen decided to take it on herself to try to follow these women so they'd have to show her where they lived.
You need to just go back home then. Why do you want to find out what floor you're on? It's creepy.
They refused to comply because it was none of her business, but the woman stood her ground.
It's just weird. It's just unnecessary.
It might be weird to you.
It's just unnecessary entirely.
Her behavior becomes downright unhinged, despite remaining calm because she's not actually blocking them in.
Nobody says I can't stay in the elevator.
She's refusing to leave them alone, which is incredibly threatening in a very real way. If they go home, she'll know where they live and can harass them further.
That's messed up.
What would you have done? Would you have gotten off the elevator or stood and waited alongside these two?
Are you gonna go?
No, obviously not.
I think the best thing to do in their situation would be to get off the elevator, not on your floor, but get off and get on your cell phone and call the cops. Or hotel security or whatever, or security of the building. She doesn't need to know where they live. It's none of her damn business.
I kind of just want to go home.
Okay, let's go home.
Elevator acts on its own accord. Have you ever felt like the circumstances were completely out of your control? Upon entering his elevator, this man was met with a terrifying case. Despite his desperate attempts to regain control, it begins to act on its own accord. He begins to mash at the buttons as we see through the windows. The elevator
no point
moves
in that.
frighteningly. Eventually, the camera cuts out as the elevator seems to hit the ceiling or the ground. Luckily, this man made it out alive. Commenters explain that he was severely injured but not maimed by the possessed machinery. He probably won't be taking the stairs for a while, but I also wouldn't want to get on an elevator after this.
See, now that's what would
Creepy
scare
old
me.
elevator in Kiev. Some elevators just scream no when you walk into them. This creepy elevator in Kiev is one of them. Fortunately, many old elevators get modernized over time, meaning the remnants of ages-old technology are torn out and replaced with something much sleeker and safer. However, upon entering this old building, this YouTuber was greeted with a cramped, dark old elevator creaking when he moved around. There are no lights, so he has to illuminate it with his camera,
Nah, that
because
ain't
you can
cool.
see the panels and buttons. However, as he points out, there are more buttons on the panel than there are floors in the building, which feels particularly haunted in this dark elevator. Upon exiting the creepy elevator, he's greeted with bright light and a bright green plant, at almost 180 from the space he's just left and yet just part of the building. Showing off the elevator reveals the very simple metal pulleys used to operate it, exposed by light metal grate in near pitch black darkness. Horror movie elevator found in Cuba.
I've been on one elevator that was kind of like that. It was a little bit better shape, but it was in a hospital parking garage. But it worked. It was maintained and stuff, but it was small like that.
To add to the last one, there's nothing creepier than an excellent horror movie-esque elevator. This one screams ripped out of a Saw movie. From the scraped walls to the old dingy buttons, seeing a modern
wouldn't get on
elevator
that.
crash, you'd wonder what went wrong with this one. You wondered how it didn't happen sooner. The patron shows how the elevator works. Though it's a little less dark than our last one, it has a full door blocking it from the building. He walks out into the bright sunlight once he's done, showing just how far it would have to drop. Would you ride on this one?
No.
Or maybe just take the stairs?
I'd probably take the stairs, even though I can't walk very well. I'd
Kids' hands
suffer
stuck in
through it.
elevator door. Sometimes kids get themselves into grave danger without realizing it. This little guy was just running his hand on the elevator door, which at the time was
Ow.
closed. However, not realizing it was opening, his mother didn't catch the movement as it slid, getting stuck in the elevator's mechanism and getting caught. The mom springs into action, trying to extract her little one's hands from the door, but to no avail. Just a few moments from the disaster, this little boy attracts the attention of others, who quickly come to his rescue. The little boy was likely okay, but they had to have been terrified for this worst-case scenario to come to life.
It's kind of like smashing your fingers in
Elevator
the car door.
malfunctions with young passengers inside. It's always best to let machines work as intended. These kids who live in the building likely didn't expect to be in a living nightmare. While goofing around on the elevator, the little boy in the video pressed his foot into the door of it. Suddenly,
Wow.
without warning, the door buckles. There's no known issue with the elevator. This simply was an out-of-left-field occurrence. The building tried to sue for compensation, whereas the child's parents claimed they should be grateful. If all it took was a little pressure from a kid for this much damage
Yeah?
to occur, imagine if things had just gotten a little bit worse. Sudden elevator overload warning. No one ever wants to get a warning on the elevator.
Yeah.
There's a max capacity, but we rarely see it being reached. However, when this elevator opens up, people begin piling in one by one. Eventually, the crowd stops with a max capacity signal popping up. A few people left, but for a moment it was actually a dangerous situation. One wrong move and the whole thing could go tumbling down. Better than they got off, rather than tempting fate like that, right? Massive fail elevator. Elevators are meant to work one specific way, and deviation from that, and you're in the mercy of a massive failure. This man, without realizing it, tempted fate when he got on this elevator. He didn't know the monitored cord from the machine he was wheeling in was stuck in the door. So when the door closed around it, things began to go a bit haywire. His monitor attached to the door is yanked off his card and gets stuck in the elevator shaft. The man, clearly panicking, has to go get help because the monitor doesn't simply fall back down. They have to climb up to retrieve it. Admittedly, they do. But could it have caused even more mechanism failure with it being stuck like that? It's hard to tell because we can't see the top of the elevator, but let's be glad that this massive failure was mild at best.
Yeah.
More a user error than anything else. Refuses to share elevator. Some people don't like to share space, and some make their issues into other people's problems. This woman unfortunately falls into the latter group. Whether this is really a Karen situation or something else, it's not clear. But the woman in the elevator refuses to share the space with the man who walks in. The signpost it says no more than 2 people in the elevator, though it seems like she believes that they should be riding alone.
And I decided to hold the lift. It says there 2 people. Because I'm here by myself, she doesn't want to move the lift. So we're gonna stay here and be looking at each other. You're gonna be famous today.
Whether for safety or some other comfort reason, the two battle it out for a while. She remains calm but demands that he leaves, and he doesn't want to leave because he has no reason to.
I think she's kind of overreacting, but if I was him, I would just wait. I would just wait for the next one. Give her way.
Why are you holding the lift? Explain yourself. Why are you holding the lift?
Why you do this?
Another person walks into the elevator, and the woman decides that that's the point she's going to leave.
Oh, now you're leaving. Okay.
It's a race thing.
Fucking idiot. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Bye.
Either that or she realizes that she's being ridiculous, but having a witness to the insanity stops her. What do you think? Racist Karen, or simply concerned for her health and safety?
Overly concerned.
Man begins to lose his mind while trapped on elevator. More than an elevator failing, many people fear being trapped in one. People are afraid of this happening for mere seconds, but what about 41 hours? That's what
That's
happened
a
to
long
Nicholas
time.
White, whose elevator got stuck in the middle of its trip. 41 hours and there was nothing he could do to help himself. Quickly he begins to run around erratically. At about 4 hours, the man lies down, waiting to see what happens next. We can see maintenance trying to get him in the other elevator shots. By 20 hours, they've made no real progress. The man begins messing with things from his pockets before opening the doors. At about 34 hours, he climbs, seemingly looking for another way out.
I don't think I'd do
Clearly
that.
not satisfied or otherwise unable, he continues his cycle of laying down, running around, pacing, prying the doors open, and so much more. Before the 41-hour mark, he's finally released from this unfortunate circumstance, and they block the elevator off from further use. Before the last clip, since you've watched until...
I think personally in that situation, the hardest thing for me would be if you have to use the bathroom. What are you going to do? Go in the corner? Do what you got to do, I guess.
At this point, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? I post 2 new scary videos every week, so make sure to stay up to date with the new releases. Manic and stuck in an elevator. People behave erratically when they think that they're stuck somewhere. This man quickly devolves into a panic when he realizes that his elevator isn't moving.
Hello?
He tries to pry open the door before turning to the security camera to get someone's attention.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
He pulls his high visibility jacket off, trying again to hit the call button and pry the door open. Unlike some of the other clips, this is easier said than done. However, when this continues to fail, he begins beating on the door, the walls.
He looks like a security guard or something because he does have a handcuff hanging on his back belt. And to act like that, I don't know. I don't know if he should be security.
And anywhere he can get his hands on. Eventually the lights cut off and we can see him struggling, trying to hit the call button, now armed with his flashlight but still stuck.
Hello? 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 Hello?
Enough stubbornness and strength and the man can eventually pry a hole open from the elevator door. But unfortunately, his escape was not caught on camera, as the view suddenly cuts and we're plunged into total darkness.
Hello? Hello? Well, that was terrifying things caught in elevators. That was a little different video than what I usually do. I kind of liked it. Now, it's time for a joke. My first time using the elevator was an uplifting experience. Although the second time let me down. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hashtag Mean Gene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.